So we're with Jess and Dennis, right?
Yes.
Do you go by like Janice? Like, you know.
We do.
We actually do.
Cute.
Or Desica.
Only family.
Oh.
Usually family.
Jessica sounds like a heavy metal band.
It does.
Janice
yeah.
or Desica. I usually don't get to be the first part, so it's usually,
Okay.
it's usually Janice.
Janice.
I figured.
Usually
Yeah.
Janice.
Okay. I like it. I like it. Well, welcome. We're glad you could be here. Obviously,
Thanks.
John sometimes finds the most peculiar things, and if you heard me in the beginning, he'll text me and say, "Hey, are you good with like meeting a rhino?" And I was like, "Sure." And then he's like, "Do you like oysters?" I was like, "Oh, where's this going?" Luckily, I do. You just hear so many different things coming out of Lawrenceville. Now, you guys being there, you were just describing to me what your place is like. So, for people who are listening, give them an idea of what it is and where you are.
So we're right on this corner of 42nd and Butler, so right in the heart of Lawrenceville. We're a cute little old corner spot that's been vacant for about 15 years.
Okay.
It was an old Polish bakery way back in the day. And it's got these awesome windows that open up. We have outdoor seating. It's just like a cozy, awesome place to be in the summer. So we have some Rappahannocks from Virginia, out of the Chesapeake. We do a lot of work with the Chesapeake. I used to live in D.C. for about 9 years. So I was close to the Chesapeake Bay. Yeah, Millie.
Millie's hanging
Welcome,
out. She's
Millie.
like, let's move this thing along, guys.
She just wants to shuck an oyster. So Rappahannocks is from Rappahannock Oyster Company, and they have a bunch of different varieties. Rappahannock is one of their flagships.
Okay.
The Dunbars are from Massachusetts. Really good, briny, with a strong minerality. Almost, you get a little like almost penny-like when you stick a penny in your mouth.
Yeah,
you know,
like
that
the
weird-
aftertaste.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you get a little bit of that from the minerality.
Well, you know, and I was even going to ask, I didn't know there was a difference.
Oh, there's so
how
many-
many are
So
there?
many.
Is that a
Thousands
common
and
question or
thousands
no?
and
I'm that
thousands.
stupid when it comes
So-
to oysters.
It is a typical question
Okay.
because a lot of people have their first oyster experience and they like them or they don't like them.
Correct.
But there's so many different varieties
Okay.
that you should always go back and try again. We have 10 to 12 different varieties at Merchant and they're always changing.
So let's talk about the contest.
So we're doing, it's basically our industry night for kind of restaurant people to get together and hang out. We're doing it the first Monday of every month. It is 4 restaurants competing.
Little friendly competition.
Little friendly competition because we're
There's no such thing.
competitive.
Go ahead. Same.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Rachel's trying to arm wrestle other podcasters. That's why there's no such thing.
That's
as
why
friendly
there's no other
Nice.
podcast
Yeah.
here.
Jessica might arm wrestle you.
We have a couple, we have a
it's
couple
on.
beers.
Okay.
We'll
Gotcha.
get it going.
So the contest.
So 4 restaurants basically come hang out, invite a bunch of their restaurant friends, and we eat and drink and hang out. And then we have a little competition where one person shucks and one person sucks. And
From the other team?
Yeah, so 4 teams all go at the same time. You have 2 minutes, whoever shucks and eats the most oysters in that amount of time. So it's fun for the public to come watch.
Yeah.
You know, watch these like kind of, you know, our famous chefs of Pittsburgh come hang out and shuck oysters and see how many they can eat really
That was
fast.
good timing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about shucking an oyster. What's the skill? They're always very sharp knives, so I'm always very careful. But
Are
it
they?
doesn't seem like it's that hard to just.
Some are sharper
slap
than
that-
others.
Yeah.
So we
Kinda
actually
cut that
have
thing out.
a couple different varieties
Okay.
of oyster shuckers. This one's called a Cape Cod, which is
Do you have
one of
any
my
mother
favorites.
shuckers?
Yes.
Okay.
See, there's lots of sexual innuendos in oysters.
And funny bad words.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
there's like a million different things you can do with oysters to make it funny.
But it's like picking a lock. So
Okay.
every oyster is a little bit different. Some of the shells are more brittle. Some of them are a little bit harder.
Okay.
Some are easier to open. Some are really tricky, and you end up breaking.
Is there a
half
way you
of
can
them.
tell?
Just
Oh,
the
how?
first time you
Yeah,
do it.
I
Not
mean,
really, unless
basically-
you know and do it enough.
Like some of them you'll see, like these edges will be brittle, and you'll just know it's going to be a more brittle oyster. These are actually not the easiest oysters to open because they are a little brittle, and that just has to do with time in the water. Some oyster farms leave them in longer. You'll get a bigger oyster, you'll get a harder shell.
Yeah, go ahead.
It depends on the mineralities in the water.
Okay.
So it like we talked about, thousands and thousands of different kinds of oysters. There's really only a couple
Whoa.
different varieties
So
of
Jess
oysters.
is opening one. Is
So I muscle my way through.
Yeah, she kind of kicked the
That was
door
a good
down
pun.
and didn't pick the lock. That's something I usually try to
Okay, so
tell my
then
oyster shuckers, don't kick the door
Right.
in.
okay. All right.
Down, right?
Yep, right down the hatch.
Rachel's downing an oyster.
Nice.
Really good.
Nice.
So the Rappahannocks are nice. They're really a clean oyster,
That's really good.
not overly anything.
just a
Right down the middle of the road. It's a great oyster.
That's really good.
A little bit.
That's like my favorite hot sauce oyster. We make our own hot sauce and we barrel age it. We call it Merchant of Mayhem.
Okay. Nice.
Nice.
It's not actually that hot, but it's got a very scary name.
Yeah,
So
why
are
don't
you
get
trying
in here
that
and
one?
I want to try
Try
one
what?
of these here.
Shuck an oyster.
Girl,
Yeah.
I don't know about this.
Yeah.
Well, here, let me go ahead and get
So
you
Rachel's
one.
going to shuck an oyster over there, and
We'll give
I'm going to do
you
one
kind of
here.
an easy
Right?
one.
Oh, this
So
is already
the
done?
tip,
It's already
so you
done.
wanna try to
I
get
pre-shucked some for you.
Oh, there you go.
right in there.
How many shucks? Is it pre-shuck?
Yep,
shuck?
and then you
wood
wanna
shuck, wood
go like
over there.
this.
All right, just down it,
This
right?
around so you
Yep.
can stab your hand and hold onto that.
Oh, that's so good. They're nice and cold.
So these ones are,
Twist it
like I said,
like
a
a
little bit more
log.
minerality. So you get like that tinniness
Yeah.
almost in the back, and you get a little bit of that brininess up in the front.
Yeah. So you don't marinate these or put them in anything to
Nothing.
give them that brininess.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope, that's just from the natural from the water.
Okay.
So these ones are from Massachusetts. These are from Virginia. So you'll notice all these just variations from the water.
Okay. All right. Cool. Cool. And Rachel's not cutting her hand yet. If you're listening to the podcast, she's got a very sharp knife.
I like the play-by-play.
Yeah. You're the color analyst. Actually,
we
you're
have
the
to do it like a
Yeah.
Now you
golfer.
want to go and
So once it's through, you still.
So now she's into the oyster,
connect on top. Just slide
and
it
it's
along the
open.
top.
Give it a Mike Lang type thing.
Awesome.
Michael, motorcycle. The shell
Wait,
is
you're not
off.
done yet. You're not done. So you gotta
Oh,
fold
you're
all
not
the way
done,
through.
Grandma. The
Take
bingo
this.
game's about to
This is,
begin.
Oh, it has
You
to
gotta-
like detach.
Yeah, so that's called an abductor muscle. That's what holds it shut. And then you just have to.
slide it all the way through.
So Rachel is
Good,
shucking
John,
an
you can try
oyster
this
here.
one.
There you go. Yep.
All right.
And then I got it ready for you. So
Oh, thanks. All right, here we go.
They're super good.
Tell us again about
There's
where.
more over
First of all,
here.
where you guys are located.
42nd and Butler in Lawrenceville.
Okay, and the website is.
merchantpgh.com.
It's the first Monday of every month.
First
At
Monday
what
of every
time?
It starts at 9 o'clock and goes until whenever the restaurant people decide to go home.
That's
That's a
awesome. I
PM.
love it.
There's 9. Some people don't know that 9 o'clock happens twice in the
Yeah.
same
It
day.
does. Yeah, it does. Restaurant people don't know the first one happens.
No, true.
Right.
That's cool.
Thank
Very
you so
good.
much, guys.
Janice,
It was so nice
Jess,
to
meet
and
you.
Billy,
Yeah.
thank you so much, and thanks Amanda Cowan for hooking us up with you guys.
Yeah.
We really
Yeah.
appreciate
No,
it,
this is
right?
great.
Yeah.